We're here with Fred Below. He's a professor of crop physiology at the University of Illinois. It's day 3 of our U.S. crop tour. It's June 27th. Fred, thank you for spending some time with us here today. And I thought we'd stop here and maybe Fred could teach us a little bit more about how we can increase our corn yields. And while on tour, this is the standard corn that I've been seeing along my route. Fred, I think you're doing some excellent research here. Explain what you're doing here versus this side of the equation. It looks like it's better managed corn, isn't it?
It is, Mo. So what we're doing is we're trying to demonstrate the increase in yield that one can get with better crop management. And we are comparing a grower standard practice, that's the general fertilization population protection practice that most growers use, to that is possible with better crop management. And you can kind of visually see it here.
Sure.
This is the grower standard practice. It'd be a lower population fertilized according to the soil test. Where we look at it right here, this has had nutrients right from the very beginning. Infertile fertility, higher density, narrower row. Planted on the same date, it's the same hybrid, and you can really see the difference that it has on crops growth. Crop yield is made every single day. It's all about rapid, uniform emergence.
Now you're also controlling the weeds, and you're saying the narrow, you're going from 30-inch to 20-inch, correct?
Yeah, the future of corn, in our opinion, is narrow rows. It's largely so that you can intercept light faster and manage a higher density of plants. And so we have a 30-inch row here. There's a 20-inch row there. I mean, look down at the bottom of that crop, Mo. You don't see much light reaching the bottom of that canopy, even at the crop that's this height.
Right.
So what we're trying to demonstrate here is those yields that are possible by combining best management practices.
Now you're going from 32,000 plant population to what, 45?
Yeah, this is 44,000. I think 44. That you're looking at in that particular one. But what we see is if you're going to have a higher density of plants, you have to commit to it. You have to feed it. You have to protect it.
Right.
You have to baby it. But yield comes from having more plants. That's one of the components of crop yield, which is plant density.
Now, the difference in yield between this managed crop and the standard crop would be what?
So historically, we've seen at least a 50 bushel difference in yield. It could be more. I don't think it's going to be less on this crop in this year. But this is part of our attempt to close the yield gap.
Right.
You know, that's the difference from what most growers get and those super high yields that you see are possible by the U.S. National Corn Growers winners.
Right, and folks, 50 bushels per acre can reduce that cost considerably. I know everybody always complains about, well, what's the cost benefit, but 50 bushels can go a long way, if even in low crop prices like the last 12 months or so. And so what else can you tell us about this managed crop? What else are you doing there? So you're managing, you got more fertility, more plants, 20-inch rows. I think you mentioned earlier we were talking about the wide drop.
Yeah, so the wide drop is one way to to side dress nutrients and place those nutrients right along where the root system of the crop is. So it's sort of a new technology. Makes a lot of sense if you think about if I put the nutrient where the crop root is going to be, and then if I rely on water funneling down the crop in order to help move that nutrient in and make it available faster.
Right.
It's particularly important for nutrients that are immobile in soils or that don't move sideways, but rather that move down.
Right. So you're saying the fertility you're applying does not move sideways, it moves down.
Especially mobile nutrients like nitrogen or phosphate.
Right, so you don't apply it in the middle of the row, you got to apply it right next to the roots.
Well, applying it in the middle is better than not applying it at all. But think about it, it has to move down into the soil, and it's not going to contact the root right away. Whereas if you can place it on the surface where the root system is, that means that it's going to contact, those roots are going to contact that nutrient a lot faster.
Sure. Now, what's your overall opinion of the Illinois crop? I mean, this is one of the ice states. It's one of those big growing states in corn and beans. So far, so good?
So I think we have an excellent crop so far. We don't have any major weather problems. It might be a little dry in some parts of the country, but I'm not seeing large nutrient losses. My personal opinion is it's going to be a very good year for crop yield.
year.
Next 3 weeks will tell.
We're here with Fred Belo. He's the professor of crop physiology at the University of Illinois. It's day 3 on our U.S. crop tour, June 27th. Fred, you just explained to me some of the research you're doing on the corn, and we're here right next to your the first east of the Mississippi. This is the first research center with an irrigation system, underground irrigation system. Can you explain what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, so what we have here is a subsurface research drip irrigation system. We actually have dripper lines below every row, 14 to 16 inches deep below every row, and this has different zones, and that allows us to do research on the value of in-season fertility, trying to increase yield through better nutrient use through fertigation.
Okay. So essentially, you know, when it gets dry, you're providing the water, you're providing the nutrients that plant needs.
Yeah, this is our goal, to really make sure the crop is never stressed, because we can water it at each time, we can give it nutrients at each time, we can vary the cocktail of nutrients, because every nutrient isn't absorbed at the same rate at the same time. So we change what we're feeding the plant based on what we know the crop needs. This allows us to manage a higher density of plants, make sure those plants are never stressed. This is our push to grow 500 bushels.
And so in a wet year, what's the difference in yield?
Well, so in a wet year, it's not about water, but it's about better nutrient use.
Right.
Last year was a wet year. When we put those nutrients through the irrigation system, as opposed to just putting it on the soil once and done, we had an average 50 bushel increase in yield.
That's on corn.
On corn.
Right.
Another 10, 12 bushels on soybeans. So what we see is there's a lot of yield potential for better nutrient management, even in a case where one doesn't need irrigation.
Well, I'm a big fan of irrigation, but I think it really helps when it's dry.
Oh, when it's dry, I think the value is going to be out of control. That's sort of a weather insurance, if you think about it, for those hopefully rare drought years. Then the payback is huge. But the payback is still there when you don't need to irrigate, if you can do a better job of supplying nutrients.
Right. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.